tank. He's good at setting traps. Has crazy power that he believes in. Has a great chin too because he's a guy. He'll let you get out punches and he'll still be coming at you. And then once he catches you, it's a
greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win.
Errol Spence praised Terence Crawford's intense training for the Canelo fight, calling it unreal. After facing him in the ring, Spence admired Crawford's speed, precision, and elite footwork. He looked sharp, explosive, and dangerously focused, a version of Crawford Spence believes Canelo cannot afford to underestimate. Terence Crawford reflected on his fight with Errol Spence, showing mutual respect. Known for his smart, patient style, Crawford explained how he breaks down opponents over time. His strategy? Stay calm, study their moves, then unleash powerful, precise flurries that overwhelm. It's a mental and physical game he dominates.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
But he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, he's this. I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down, just wear them down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. You know what I mean? I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, like, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, like, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything start weakening. And those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Analyst Chris Algieri highlighted Crawford's dominance and control compared to Canelo Alvarez. While Crawford stays composed and in command, Canelo has been overwhelmed, like in his loss to Bivol. Algieri believes Crawford's adaptable, technical style could pose serious problems, even at a higher weight, for a seasoned fighter like Canelo.
Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys, number one, you can't boss me around. Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another. Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford. Looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that. But I'll tell you this.
Contrast and compare. Maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So when you talk about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this, but stylistic, even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? That's going to come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights, and Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays with the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Middle East Joe Saunders situation. When he gets that in his head that he's got an extra chip, he becomes a really dangerous man.
Max Kellerman offered a fair comparison, noting both fighters' strengths. He favored Crawford based on recent form, praising his timing, switch hitting, and knockout power. Though Canelo holds a size advantage, Kellerman pointed to his declining speed and aggression, ultimately calling Crawford the more complete and currently sharper fighter.
Punching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has the better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter.
This mega fight brings intrigue. Crawford moves up in weight, risking speed and stamina, while Canelo, though experienced, isn't as explosive as before. His recent cautious style contrasts with Crawford's sharp footwork and ring IQ. If Crawford stays sharp, he has a real shot at pulling off the upset.
Obviously, at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class. And in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes.
Rising star Abdullah Mason boldly predicted a shocking Crawford win, pointing to his underrated power from timing and precision. While many favor Canelo's size, Mason believes Crawford's sharpness could be more damaging. Dmitry Bivol, who beat Canelo, also praised Crawford's strength, discipline, and skill, calling the fight dangerously competitive.
In Dubai, maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jamal Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously.
Keith Thurman offered a sharp analysis, noting that while the fight looks even on the surface, Canelo's struggles with Jermall Charlo's movement exposed key flaws. Thurman believes Crawford's superior ring IQ and strategy could give Canelo even more trouble, making this a tougher matchup than many expect.
We ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other.
Your eyes?
It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight, he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan and comedian Mike Vayon praised Terence Crawford's talent and mindset. Rogan called him one of the greatest boxers today, highlighting his discipline, skills, and mental toughness. He noted the Canelo fight is a legacy-defining moment. Crawford acknowledged the size difference but remained calm and confident, ready for pressure and power. He respects Canelo's ability but believes in his own adaptability. This mix of humility and belief, Rogan noted, is what makes Crawford so dangerous. With both physical preparation and psychological maturity, Crawford enters this fight not just to compete but to make history.
Good. Work has been going great, and fight time we're gonna be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, think it was, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, thanks to Turkey, Alashik, he made it possible. And, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. He's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there.
I was looking it up, and I think the last time Bud Crawford was an underdog for a fight was the Prescott fight back in 2013. Any difference? Do you even pay attention to odds, or that doesn't matter to you when you step in there into the ring that night?
No, it definitely don't matter. The odds can't fight for him, so, it is what it is.
Actor and martial artist Michael Jai White backed Crawford to win, citing his experience and strategic brilliance. Despite moving up in weight, Crawford has consistently neutralized bigger opponents. White believes this is just another stage for Crawford, where he'll stay composed, calculated, and precise, as he always does.
So you would put your money on Crawford?
Yes.
You'd make money.
Okay.
Just put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Crawford's going to beat him?
Because Crawford could find people to fight like Canelo, who's amazing. Canelo has oh my God, like he evolved. I saw how he evolved defensively and everything. I just don't think he's as fast as Crawford. And I think Crawford is just a little step ahead as far as movement is concerned. And so I think it's going to be Mayweather Canelo Part 2. That's what I think.
Canelo is naturally heavier.
Yeah. Crawford ain't going to knock him out.
Huh.
But I don't know if Canelo's going to land very solidly on Crawford.
It's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now. We've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. He's up there, and not in age, because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz.
Calvin Ford, trainer of Gervonta Davis, praised Terence Crawford's courage in accepting such a risky challenge. He said it takes rare mental and spiritual strength to face the odds. Crawford's drive to chase greatness, even against giants, sets him apart and defines his legacy-focused mindset.